everyone. Welcome back to Sex and the Diversity. My name is Divya, and today's episode features my friend Neeraja, who stopped by. She is an interior designer based out in Brooklyn, and we ended up having a totally unfiltered conversation about big dicks and answered the question if size really does matter. Then we talked about a few of our experiences working in sex work and the strangest fetishes we've encountered and the weirdest things guys have asked for during sex. Finally, I wrap up our conversation talking about the time I wandered into a sex party. So what I was telling you before is I saw that article, right, where it talks about different dick sizes and how different dicks can cause a different percentage of women to orgasm. They said that the ideal length to make a woman come is
9 inches.
Well, it was 8, but yes, it was all the big X. Yeah, it was. I think it was 80. No, it was 8 inches. 42% of women come, and 9 inches. 47% of women come. So it's like that's.
So 9 is like the ideal.
Yeah.
9 is like the ideal. But the main takeaway is that most women don't come during penetrative sex.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when you look, like, even lower than 8, like, if you go to, I think it was the 6 and then 7, it was, like, 30% or 20%. And it's like, if you have a baby dick,
super low.
It's, like, not even.
They're basically not coming. Those women probably just played with themselves.
Yeah, no.
But they, you know, the women not coming from a 9-inch dick, I bet that they might be on the flip side suffering a little from the 9-inch dick.
Yeah, no, I think and it was above 9. It was like also it went down a lot because then it starts getting
But
painful.
not as much. I think it went down to like 30 something.
Yeah, no,
it
of
was
course.
Still like a way better than the small.
No, I'm just imagining at that point if you have a micro dick, which is like the size of like my finger, maybe like 3 inches or 2 inches. Like at that point, you're just like it's like fingering yourself with like one finger, right? Like
But your finger can actually reach because of the way your mobility is.
Right. And
whereas
you can like
a dick can't because it's just flat around a dick.
I was wondering about that.
So I mean, you could get a fist in your hole. I mean, not that everyone should or could.
Have you ever gotten fisted?
I have, believe it or not.
Well, how did that happen?
I didn't notice it was happening. It was when I was really young.
Were you like turned on before that?
No, I was liking the fingering, and then I remember that happened, and I was like, what the fuck? Stop it. It felt awful.
So, no, I'm just wondering, when people fist you, do they, like, build up to it?
No, he was
like
building. He was putting one, and then 3, another, and then the whole, I felt it, like, screwing in.
Oh, my God.
It was so bad.
That's, like, traumatic.
It was in a movie theater, too. It was so bad. But it was an empty movie theater. I used to work at the movie theater, and they opened it late. We opened it late night. The guy was my manager. I had a crush on him.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. No, I was thinking like the whole thing is I would want a lot of like prep, and I would want somebody to at least give me a warning because that's scary to have a fist in me. Even though a baby does.
We were like 18, 19, or 17. Actually, I might have been 16, 17.
Okay.
I was definitely in high school, and I just didn't expect it.
And did it feel good? Or was
no. It didn't. I wanted it out of me as fast as possible.
Yeah, I don't know what it's supposed to... like, is it supposed to be like, oh, this is my fist, by the way. This is, like, my cock is going to be, like, coming next.
Some people, their muscles just relax and let anything in.
Just like a vacuum?
Even like I once met this man who wanted me to fist him. He was like...
Wait, have you ever... Okay, so how did he ask you to fist him?
Well, he was like, we were just talking on the phone, like flirting all the time. I met him at like Rutgers or something. Actually, he might have been at Princeton. It might have been one of those crossover, like, there was a lot of crossover between the... So he was from Princeton, I was from Rutgers, and he was like, oh, do you have any fetishes, blah, blah, blah. And I get this a lot. Like, I don't know, people come to me with their fetishes a lot. Like,
you have like an accepting vibe. Like,
I don't know why. And he was like, would you ever like kick me in the balls? Oh, it's a flash flood warning. He was like, would you ever kick me in the balls? And I was like, not really.
Yes or no? He's like, how did that even come up like randomly? He's like,
we were just talking about fetishes and I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm like open. Because I have dated like freaky guys, but they didn't want me to hurt them. But that's what this guy was into. And he was like, I'm really into fisting. And I was like, what kind of fisting? And he was like, I could fist you or you could fist me. And I was like, well, you're not going to fist me.
wait, so it started off by he was really asking you if you wanted to kick him in the balls. And then he was like,
that was his main fetish. He was like, I want you to just do it over and over. Like,
this is like, I wonder if he's like home just like jerking off.
I think
just, like,
he
punches
was
himself in the balls.
Oh,
like,
I thought you meant jerking off to that conversation. I was like, I think he was.
No, I'm just imagining him like jerking off. He's like sitting at home jerking off a little.
I think he likes a woman doing it because when I did that foot fetish thing, this man asked me to step on him and make it hurt.
I heard about that, the stepping on. Like,
I think with my heel on.
Has that fetish. She had this interview.
Oh, that feet thing. She's always about the feet.
I mean, but no, it was. So I was reading something about like how people develop a foot fetish, and it's the most common because something about like the part of our brain that gets like stimulated, gets aroused. It's really close to the also like something to do with feet. Like, so the wires, like, literally cross.
I'm going to tell you something. Why. The guys I've met that are really into, like, eating pussy and eating ass are always into feet also.
Really?
They always, like, tell me I have really cute feet.
Well, you have, like, manicured feet.
And then they suck my toes. They're always... And I kind of came to the conclusion that feet are attached to your legs, which is attached to your pussy.
Right. So and they're like,
it's actually all about pussy. That's what I've noticed. And there's something about like when men dote on your feet, that's like real girlfriend experience type thing. Like that's another part. If you're doing it on a sex work level, that's what I observed is they just want that cuddly, like making you laugh, making you feel good. Without coming.
You know what's interesting? Because I was wondering about the fetish thing. It's like, does he, because I had this guy, the weirdest, or the most different fetish I had is this guy that I dated. And I told you this. He had like a tickle fetish. Like that's was the most
really related to the feet.
Okay, no, and he did. Like the first time, it was like, the first time we were hooking up, I think this was like on the second date or third date, he literally took my foot and he started just sucking on my toes. And like this was like we were just making out and he just grabbed my foot and I was like, oh, this is great. Like I was surprised. No, I was just like, wow. Because I have that same thought in my mind. I'm like, when a guy is like, he doesn't even ask me to shower beforehand. Like, I literally had, like, my foot in, like, a heel. Like, and he just had dinner.
And you're walking around barefoot.
In his apartment. He didn't even care. He just, like, started sucking on my toes. I'm like, wow, that means he has, like, no inhibitions. He'll just, like, do anything, and he gets turned on.
They like feet, though.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. Have no inhibitions. But tickling, so when I did that weird foot fetish thing, a lot of it was, like, you had to fake laugh a lot while they're like
so you're
touching.
Not ticklish on your phone.
I actually am. You know what? I'm okay. If they had touched me a certain way, I wouldn't have laughed. I would have been like, "Oh, stop it!" Like that's my reaction.
Like an uncomfortable. Yeah, a stranger.
But they touch like this. It feels really good. It feels really good when someone touches your feet. But I'm not gonna make giggling noises. That's fake.
Well, so what
everyone
happened?
Doing those noises is faking it.
So I asked him, and so then he told me about that. He was like, like sucking my toes, doing that, and I'm like, okay, that's normal. That's whatever, normal. Like,
yeah, it's pretty normal.
But then he was like, oh, he had that same thing. He was like, oh, what are your fetishes? Like, and I feel like that's a segue when somebody's gonna say something weird when they randomly bring that up, and it's like, oh, the weather is nice. It's yeah. What are your fetishes? Like, it's never gonna be like something like conversation. There's never like a good way to segue in or it's smooth. Like,
I think a man should just own it and say, you know, I have a fetish for this, and I would really like to do this with you. Is it something?
That's what he was just like, I'm really into tickling. Then he asked me, and he was like, so is this something you're into? And I'm like, is that common? Like, do you ask people that? And they're like, yeah, me too. I feel like that's a really
and
not
I think
common
I think the question, is that something you're into? I don't like that question because it's almost like I feel some sort of pressure to say yes. That's just me. I'm like, when someone asks, like, I feel I don't want to be negative and say no. Just present me with your thing and I'll answer one way or another. Don't say, is that something you're into? I'm like, I will let you know. I'll get back to you. I'm going to think about it.
Right. No, this is exactly how I felt too. He was pretty much just like, this is my fetish, and he was checked, like, okay, so he was like, I would like to tickle people. I like to be tickled, and I like to tickle, like, be the tickler. And I was like, oh, is this fetish because you want to hear me laugh? Like, you like to bring joy to my life, you know?
The laughing thing and the foot fetish thing, it was like those fake orgasmic laughs. It's very porn, like.
It's a different type of laugh, but
It was super, like, no one has laughed like that in history. Like, natural.
No, because
it was like, oh my God.
Well, it was, so he wanted to tickle me, and I was like, okay with it, because I'm like, out of all fetishes, that's not
it's
that.
It's the
like,
least harmful.
Yeah, it's the least harmful.
Yeah.
It's the least weird. It's not like he was asking to pee on me. So it was just like, yeah, you could tickle me. But then he started, like, tickling me, like, so hard that I couldn't breathe. And he's like, oh, by the way, I don't like tickling because I want to see you laugh. I want to torture you. It's called tickle torture. And I was like,
the way he just dropped that on you.
He was just like, no, he's like, it's like a form. I felt it was like BDSM. Like, it's like instead of using like whips and chains, he's like, I'm going to use my hands to like tickle you until you can't breathe. And you're just like choking. And I was like, this is not
I would rather you just spank me. I like the spanking better.
No, and he wanted to, and he literally would tickle me where I couldn't breathe. And I was like, I think we need to have a safe word. Because,
yeah, I don't like that.
I didn't like that. It was like, and I was like tickled, but I was like forcibly laughing. But I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, because you can't, some tickling, like if you tickle me here, I'll laugh.
Yeah.
But it's not sexy laughing.
It's
like, I can't breathe.
Exactly. I was like, I was literally like, this is very uncomfortable. And I'm like, I really can't breathe. And then he was like going to my ribs and like tickling like my ribs, my underarms, my like thighs. And he was like under my feet. And I was just like, I felt like tortured. And I just, I was like, this is not this. I didn't think this was sexy tickling. And I basically was like, no, I don't want to be tickled. And then he was like, oh, well, then how are we going to have sex? And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was a fetish. I'm like, is this like a full-time thing you need? Like, I thought this was like, I was like, can we occasionally do this like once a month?
No. He wasn't that type. But
was,
then
like, so into it.
He should have disclosed it.
I mean,
like
we had like
on.
We had like regular vanilla sex too, but it was like when he was stressed out and he really wanted to like come, like he really wanted to tickle me. And then he asked me to tickle him. And I was like, well, I've never done that, but I was like, I can tickle him. So I was like I was tickling the bottom of his feet.
You have the stamina to do that while someone's like can't breathe, to keep going.
It was like he was laughing, but his dick was also getting like really hard. It was like,
okay, that's interesting.
It was like he was like laughing, and it was like a kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like he was laughing, but the laughter wasn't reaching his eyes, and then he also like was getting hard. It was like this weird like laugh pleasure hardness. It's hard to describe. And then, so it wasn't like a normal tickling thing. It's like almost like he was getting like waves of pleasure while I was tickling
That's
him.
hot. I can see why you would do that.
And then I did that, but then he wanted me to say like some really weird stuff because he wanted like certain like phrases to be like used while I was tickling him. And he was like, okay, he was just like, you know what? And I also really, can you say like certain things, like whisper them in my ears? And I was like, and he was just like, yeah, I want to hear that because this is what they say in the tickle porn, apparently. So he wanted me to say like coochie coochie. I can't even say without laughing.
Coochie coochie coo.
It was like,
okay.
straight face.
Okay, whatever.
I know.
I just get all uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
It was really
about.
uncomfortable. I didn't know, it was awkward. And then he was like, not only did he want me to tickle him, he wanted me to say like these phrases. And then
It's like baby talk.
it was a little baby talk, a little bit. And he wanted me to, like, that was his version of like talking dirty, was like saying these like tickling phrases.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. And that was his fetish. And then he really wanted to, he thought that I would secretly have that too. So every time he would like, he was like really hoping. He was like hoping. He's like, oh my gosh, maybe she also have this tickle fetish. So every time he would like tickle me or start like, you know, doing that, he would like check to see if I was wet. And I'm like, I'm not wet. Like,
I hate when someone's doing something you don't like and check to see if you're wet, because it's like,
if you have to check.
it's like if you have to check, but it's like I'm always wet, but certain things will dry me out. It's like certain things I'm like, I don't enjoy that. My pussy is closed for business. You cannot enter.
I can't, that was the whole thing. Like, it was something where if you're checking to see if I was wet and like I was being tickled, I was not turned on, and I was like, oh, can we just have normal sex? And he was like, well, this is like then he was downplaying how much of this fetish was like part of his life. It was like a really
and then
big
he
part.
turned around with it.
Yeah, no, it was like he had all these different things that he was into, and he just kind of put it all out there. But I wonder if he's ever like hooked up with somebody and the girl was just like, yeah, I actually love being tickled. And then
I bet there's mad girls who love being tickled. You gotta put it out there and find them in like a fetish community.
Right. Because he says that there's like tickle porn that he watches, and then next to his bed in the nightstand he had like a feather, and like
that's hot.
He just had like all this like tickle. He has this tickle paraphernalia, like, you know, like the bondage, like the hand bondage.
Yeah, because
the
like whole
tickled.
point is you can't get away.
Right. And,
okay.
And he was just like,
it is bondage. It is BDSM.
It was, and I didn't know that. Like, I was like, wow, that's like a subset of BDSM. Mm-hmm. Like, and because I remember you said about that like foot fetish party, and I wonder,
that was different. They just wanted to hear that fake orgasmic laughter.
Okay, so how did you even get involved with that foot fetish party?
I was working at this job that I was like really bad at. Like, it was a design job, but secretly it was sales. We were supposed to be doing like a lot of sales, and I was so bad at it. I was actually like losing the company money. like one day the accountant showed me, it was like everyone was earning like millions for the company, and I was like below the graph. And I was like, okay, but I'm a designer. So they gave me all the design. Anyway, whatever. I sucked at the job. I was miserable. And my friend, I was like, I just want to quit, and I don't have another job lined up. I don't know what to do. And my friend was like, I'll set you up with this thing. And she shared a contact with me. The contact was named Ann Foot. She's Japanese, my friend. Like, this is how she saves things. And I was like, okay. And I texted her, and she was like, okay, send me some pictures of you, like full body pictures. And I had a great body back then. I was like 30 or 31, I think. And, yeah. And then she was like, all right, so we're having this party on like a Monday. It's on a Monday in Alphabet City at this karaoke bar. So all the little rooms for karaoke turn into private rooms for foot fetish.
I wonder if you have to ask permission to do that, or they just like shut the door and they're like, this is my birthday party, like, don't come in.
No, she rented the whole floor.
Oh, wow. So the owners knew that she was doing that.
Yeah. So, and then Monday came, and I was like, yo, I don't want to do this. And I told my friend, I was like, I don't want to go. And she was like, you're going. I set you up. She was so mean.
We invested money into your...
She was like so mean. And she wasn't even going. She was just like mean about stuff. And she like did all my makeup and made me go. And then I was like on my way, and the girl's like, we have a client waiting for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't even... And she was like, I sent your picture out to a bunch of people.
I just DM'd, like, just mass email.
She said she had a newsletter. I'm like,
oh my
bitch,
God.
shut the fuck up.
Oh my
You don't
God.
have no fucking foot fetish newsletter.
So, like, you totally sent a full picture of you, and then she just, like, emailed
I think she sent it to, like, hundreds and hundreds of people.
Oh my God. So it's like, they probably think, like, oh, it's like...
My face.
Your face, not even just
I'm
your
like,
feet.
why did you have to see my face?
It's part of that. They want to see, like,
yeah,
the girl.
it is.
They want to make sure that she's hot. And then, because it's like, if you see a random foot, you don't know, like, who's it's attached to. She could be
they will suck any foot. Okay, I saw those people, and I saw those feet. They will do anything with anyone. But that's...
Did you have to get a pedicure beforehand? Just to,
no, they actually like natural feet. They don't care if you have a pedicure or not, but they said specifically don't use lotion or scented, and don't, like, clean your feet.
So just, like, walk around in shoes all day, like, have
but between clients, you would have a wipe. So it's because it's, like, their spit.
It's okay. We'll get into, like, what they do when they see the naked foot, but just the prep. So it's, like, because I would think, like, you know, if you have the pedicure, if your feet are really, like, done up, then you would get better tips. But they actually like it when it's, like, raw.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They just like feet. And I think I have nice feet, but I saw some, like, what I would describe as very ugly, disgusting feet there. And they were all into that too. And they weren't necessarily attached to beautiful women. Like,
okay, so it was just
there's different types of people. Like, some people like a beautiful foot, and some people just like feet. And it's kind of like there's some men that like really big boobs, but most men just like boobs.
Right,
like you could be flat and they'll be like, I'm really into that too. Like, so I think feet and hands are a sex organ also. For me, a man's hands are a sex organ.
You know, but hand size has nothing to do with dick size. They said it's actually your nose. Like, a guy with a big nose has a bigger dick. Like, that's the correlation.
Okay, so then everyone in India and the Middle East is just packing.
I mean, okay.
And Africa.
Indians have, like, short noses. Like, there are some Indians with short noses.
I guess it checks out. Like, the people I know who had big dicks had big noses.
Out of the Indians, like, the Indians with short noses.
I've never been with an Indian with a small nose.
I mean, but what is considered a big dick? Like, anything over 7 inches, 6 inches?
Yeah, it was like 8.
Okay,
or
so that's
bigger.
the orgasmic dicks again.
Yeah.
Like, those are the dicks that are making sense.
It's the type of dick that needs a bunch of tries to get it.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, but then usually, but I hate when guys with big dicks think that that's all they need to show up is to, like, have a big dick, and
they like, don't though, because their dick is too big for a lot of people, so they do a lot of other work to get in.
That is true. But
it's small dick guys that they just roll up and they're in, and you don't need any foreplay for them.
And you're just like, are you in yet?
I slept with one person. Maybe he was 6 inches.
You've only slept with one guy with a 6-inch dick.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, anything lower than a 6-inch, or
nothing.
That was the smaller.
That was the smallest dick.
Oh my God.
And he had a big nose, so explain that.
I don't know. Go to the study. This is what the study.
He had a big nose, but he slid right in. I was like, what? Because I was like, oh, this is gonna be a process. Because I thought it was every dick. Little did I realize I had only been experiencing big dicks. I thought every dick couldn't get in, but that one slid right in.
Oh my God. No. I mean, okay, so this one guy with a really big dick, and he would, like, I've slept with him, and he would always tell me how, like, it was actually a big problem, because he's like, I can't do a lot of positions, because it, like,
you try to hit it from behind. I'm going to need to do yoga before.
Right, no, he said, like, he's like, I can't do positions, like, again, a lot of prep work, it's painful for a lot of girls. You actually... It's not like the thing, like, every guy thinks, like, oh man, if I have a big dick, it's like, that's it, I made it, like, all these girls want to fuck me.
But I know a lot of girls who tell me, like, the bigger the better. Like, they wish guys had bigger
dicks. But how many big dicks have they been with?
And now I'm starting to put things in perspective. I'm like, maybe I just literally only attract big dick energy. Like,
well, that's good.
Or I'm only attracted to that. Whatever it is, but I don't. I don't.
How can you tell if a guy has a big dick without seeing his dick?
I don't know. I just find out, and
he
it's
just
always
comes to
big. That's what I really believe in big dick energy. I'm like, that has to be it, because I don't really experience. There was this one like small man. He was probably the smallest man I've ever liked. We went on like 2 dates.
Like short or like small?
Well, he was maybe like
Or,
5'9",
okay.
and I think he had small-ish hands, but I somehow really liked him, and we made out a lot. And then he like canceled our date, and we never talked again. And I think he might have had a small dick. So I'm like, God will just cut it off.
I know.
Like,
it's
with
like,
no
please
explanation. He's like, Neeraja, this isn't for you.
Yes,
like,
cut off the small dick.
just go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had like guys that I've never had a guy that had like a micro penis, like you know,
I've
4 to 5
seen one,
inches.
but I didn't fuck him.
I googled it because I was curious. I was like, what happens? I just want to avoid that. Like, I want to avoid. Like, I was like googling like signs someone has a micro penis, like how to tell before
do you
actually
tell?
like see it. Because I think I would like I wouldn't even know what to say. I would just be like, I don't even know. Like, what
I got up and left. It was freshman year. I just got up and walked away because I didn't know what was a micro penis. I thought something was like wrong with him.
Yeah, it's just not aesthetically pleasing. It's like the size of like a finger.
It doesn't feel good in your hands. Like if I reach in your pants, I want to feel a big, giant
right. Like you want a handful.
thing.
You want
I want it to be big. I want to feel it be hard.
Right. You want all the. I'm just thinking like I was just imagining like reaching into a guy's like pants and it's like this tiny micro dick and then you take your fingers and like.
Oh, my friend fucked a guy like that, and she said she would jerk him off like that.
Off with like your
2
thumb,
fingers.
Your 2 fingers jerk off.
And she said he used to joke about it, like he called it his baby dick.
Oh my god! Why would you say that? That's not sexy.
So and he was so.
Like, if a guy
And you know what else? He had a big nose. He was white and had a big...
Mind. I take back everything I said.
He was white and had a big nose.
That study is bunk. Okay, so big noses aren't...
But yeah, he was so... And he got mad girls because he was, like, vaguely pretty. Like his
pretty boy?
Yeah, but everyone knew he had a tiny dick. Like, everyone in town knew.
Well, like, if you have a dick that small and that thin, it's like almost having an oversized clit. It's like almost having an oversized clit, right? Wouldn't it be like, it's just like an extended clit at that point?
Oh my god, and this girl was so obsessed with him.
But if you were
she
like...
was a dumbass.
Okay, so going back to your foot fetish party, we got sidetracked. Okay, so you're there, and then they see your feet.
Yeah,
like,
this
what do they want to do with your foot?
Had me booked, and I walked in, and he's like, "Are you Nadia?" And I was like, "No, I'm Neeraja. I'm a dumbass. I gave him the fake name and forgot."
Oh, right.
And he was like, "You sure you're not Nadia?" And I was like, "Oh wait, I am."
Actually, that's Neeraja's my middle name.
Nadia Neeraja makes sense.
It's like Russian Indian.
Anyway, so we went into the private room. So I was lucky. I got booked for a private right away. That's a lot more money than...
It's like a strip club. You got it into
I got the VIP room. So actually, he had a thing. He wanted me to wear nylons. He brought nylons, like a new pair.
Okay.
And he wanted me to put them on. And he was like just rubbing my feet. I guess it was nice that we were just talking for like an hour.
Okay.
And he was sucking my toes through the nylons. Like he made holes in them. And then he was like sucking my toes. And then at the end, he actually grabbed me and forced me to make out with him. It was so horrible. And you're not supposed to do anything sexual. Like that's really a big thing.
So was he like, when he had your feet out, was he hard? Was he aroused? Like
he was hard the whole time.
And he's not allowed to touch himself though. He just has
No, but he kind of was like pushing. Okay, I was laying like this.
Yeah.
And sitting, and he's sitting here, I'm like on his lap type of thing.
Yeah.
And he's playing with my feet, and I can clearly feel he's hard.
Okay.
And he was kind of like a little bit trying to brush up against me, but I would just move a little because I'm like, I don't want anything to do with your dick. So, yeah, I get that it's easier, but I think everything comes with that risk of this person could overpower you.
Mm-hmm.
or guilt you or pressure you or anything that could happen in any other scenario.
Right.
So you just, it seems like it's really easy to maneuver, but to me, it's not for me because I don't like that. I don't like pressure. I don't like people, putting that pressure on me.
So, like, the sex work, I mean, did you feel like
I don't
it was forced
have
in a way?
it in me to be like, how you can't do that. I went in there thinking certain things are agreed upon, but that's a person who's going on his own rules. You know what I mean? So
you need a person watching out for you.
yeah, and that's not really
Not
how
a
it
pimp,
works.
though. Not a pimp.
Yeah,
I was like, who?
but the pimp isn't really watching out
I
for
know.
you either.
I was like, that person.
They're hoping they'll go too far, So it's like, that's just not for me. That's how I realized that. And I met a lot of girls there. They were 21.
How much did you get for that private room and that guy, like, sucking your toes?
I think $300.
For how long? Like, how long were you in that
It was
room?
an hour.
Okay, $300 for an hour. Like, I guess.
It's fine.
Would you do more? Like, would you?
He gave me his number and was like, could you come to my house sometime in Jersey City? Okay. And, I couldn't. I met some other girls there. They were 21. They had boob jobs. They had like all this plastic surgery. I mean, they were sex workers.
Just to do feet work?
They did every work.
Okay. I'm like, wow.
They did every work. And they were so good. Oh my God. These girls, like this one girl, she's 21. She was wearing a jumpsuit, which everyone else had a really short skirt. Because, legs and feet, you want to see it. She had a jumpsuit, a loose one, not even a tight one. And she's like, she got every guy to do a private with her. And she was not the most prettiest girl in the room. Like, she just knew what the fuck she was doing. Like, she was a hustler. And she was telling me, she was like, she was basically Zola. She was like, I'll never sleep with someone for under $1,000. She was telling me people in those private rooms are fucking.
Whoa, so they start off by like, sucking on the toes.
It's all a front. I mean, that's the thing with sex work. It's like, it could be anything,
Right, because once you're in that room, they can pretty much do whatever.
Yeah, you could be like, okay, you can do this for this much. And
did you have to give that cut? Was the $300 what the lady gave you, or was that
no? He gave me that directly. I had to give her $15 when I entered.
Oh, so to like be in this party?
Yeah, to be in the party.
That was she just collects people to like join the party. That's like she doesn't take a percentage of the.
She takes. I think all the men pay her to enter.
Probably a lot. Yeah.
And the girls pay to be there. Okay. And then she makes, I know, but that's the same thing they do at strip clubs. They charge the strippers.
I didn't know that. So you have to like pay to just dance at this club.
Yeah, because the idea is you're going to make so much, but it's still unfair. But
yeah, no, because how would
she bought me some free drinks because I was traumatized by him trying to kiss me. Yeah, you know what? That's not my scene. But that girl, she was like telling me how she makes so much money. Basically.
How much does she make? Like a month? Do you think?
I don't know. I didn't ask it like that, but she was a full prostitute for sure.
I like how there's like different levels.
All the work done. But you know what? Her body, she didn't have a BBL. She just had a boob job. Her body was like not.
But back then, like nobody was checking for the BBL.
It was only 4 years ago. Calm down. She's like, when you were 31, Neeraja, that was quite a while ago.
Back in the day.
That was not the world we live in.
No. Oh yeah, BBLs were still popping. Then like
Well, I'm saying because she was going to Miami to do all her shit, so I was. Okay. Yeah, you're right. BBL wasn't that big.
No, people still were checking the ass, like J-Lo, Kim Kardashian. But I think BBLs have really picked up in the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
Where, like, people are legit.
Where normal people are doing it.
Where, like, even Beyonce looks like she got a BBL. And it's like, if someone like Beyonce...
She's been had one.
Okay. I mean, she always was curvy, but, like...
But I always thought her curves, ever since 2013, was looking a little fake.
Okay.
It's the shape. Do you know what I mean? It's like where it goes out suddenly.
Right. Like, I mean,
it goes out like that in the back, but not the sides. The sides is more like...
Right. That, I mean, it's like that, like, some people get bad BBLs where it looks like you have, like, a pumpkin attached to your ass or, like, a diaper.
Yeah, she didn't get a bad BBL, but I did think it looked like a BBL.
Right, because your butt is just, like, you have, like, the cleavage just, like, super full, and it has that projection. Yeah. And some people...
She's a perfectionist. We have, like, the way she makes her music, she would do the same thing with her body. She's not going to have her body looking bad from any angle.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I just think that people don't care, though. I've come to the realization that, like, maybe if it is your job, but even if she probably, it's, like, in her head, she thinks that she'll get paid more.
It's her. I don't think it's the paid more. I think she, as a perfectionist, cannot allow a single bad picture.
Right.
And she has all this control over, like, who can publish pictures of her. That's why we don't really see pictures of Beyonce out ever and stuff. Like, she's a control freak.
Right. No, she wanted to delete some, like, unflattering concert photos once where her, her nose was, like, flaring or something.
Yeah.
And then she was just
she's a control freak.
I think she doesn't want, like, a bad image. I mean, this is crazy.
And she is so beautiful.
I know what I'm saying. Like, everybody's going to have a bad angle. Everyone looks, like, bad in certain ways. Like, you can... Like, Beyonce's a 10 out of 10, right? But, like, even she...
I do think she's naturally thick. Like, Solange is skinny, but Beyonce, I do think she gets lipo. I can just tell by her body. Like...
Yeah.
I think if things were different, she could be shaped like Queen Latifah.
No, you think if she wasn't Beyonce,
if she weren't famous, I think if she were like an accountant in Texas, she would be shaped like Queen Latifah.
That's like the extreme example. Like,
no, but I think she's capable. Like, some people, like I'm capable of gaining a lot of weight if I eat carbs and stuff.
Right. So if you like wanted to gain weight, I
could be built like Queen Latifah. Like,
we all could be Queen Latifah.
We could.
We all are. And
I actually think she's very beautiful. Right. She's one of the most beautiful people.
I mean, it's just a ageless. No. Obviously, it's like a certain body type. Like, some people just.
Beyonce's tall too. She's like 5'9". She's big. I just think she's a little bit bigger naturally, and
because
like Solange is the skinny one, and she got a little more thick in it. Like, her mom is thick,
right?
So you know.
But it's also like, I think, like, just your lifestyle, what you do, how often you work out, and in the entertainment industry, you have to. There's a pressure to, like, look a certain way, so you're never gonna just gain weight.
And everyone said nasty things about her all the time.
Yeah. No, so when you finished doing that, like, going back to the foot fetish party, so that was, like, the one time that you did that party, or did you go back?
Actually, that prostitute girl invited me to a different party outside of Ann Foot.
So now she has her own, like, ring going on, her own hustle.
She was like, "Come on, girl, let's play these dudes out, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I can't.
So what does she want you to do at this party? And what does she mean by playing these dudes out?
She was like, we're going to tag team and play these dudes out. Like... Basically,
like, suck on their feet together. Like, is that what it's...
I would never suck a man's feet.
I mean, I'm sorry, have, like, a guy have both.
I don't think that was a foot fetish party. It was, like, some other shit. Okay. And that's when I was like, I'm not.
So your level of
collect unemployment. I can't do this.
So your level of comfort, you would say, like, feet is okay, but would you do that again or no? Were you like...
I think the only way I would do a feet thing again is if, like, someone was, like, that I knew was, like, I'll pay you to let me do stuff.
Okay, so somebody that you know.
Yeah, I don't want to do that party. I don't like that. Like, random people. I don't like that whole environment. The man who wanted me to step on him and he licked the bottom of my shoe, he was the saddest person I've ever met in my life. And I thought he was like 55, and it turned out he was my exact age. He was another 31-year-old man. I thought he was like 50.
He just was aging terribly.
And he had a bad life. I was like, I can't be out here thinking about your life right now. Like, I need to think about my life.
Do they talk to you and like share about their
Well,
days?
I found out he was from Montgomery, New Jersey. So I was like, okay, we're the same age, same place we grew up.
Into him at the
And
grocery
now
store.
I was like, I can't end up like this man. I had this whole thing. I was like, I can't be here. Like, this is.
It was just too sad.
It was too sad. Like, I'm like, what happened that made you need me to put my foot on your face?
I mean,
with
like,
a
if
heel?
you have that fetish, I guess. Like,
No, but his came from a place of sadness. You could tell. Some people, they're just partying.
Empowered.
Some people are powerful people, and then they like to feel small or something. But I'm like, oh, he was on some sad shit.
It was like a drug for him. He was like, his life was terrible, and that's the only way he could.
Oh my God, he was so sad.
Yeah, once you start like feeling bad for the clients.
And he came to Alphabet City from Montgomery, New Jersey. It was because that's how bad he needed.
How many people were at this party? Like, how many customers?
I want to say like 100. No,
Whoa.
It couldn't have been 100. It was small. Maybe like 50.
Okay, so 50, and then how many girls were there?
Maybe like 30 girls. Oh no, 20 girls and 30 men. Or it was like, no, maybe like 15 girls and 20, like the rest men.
Okay. No, that's like a...
So everyone can make money. But the thing is, if you don't get a private, you sat in this semi-public room and they pay $20 for 10 minutes. So you don't make that much money.
Okay, so you have to get privates. Is like...
Yeah, that thing, and that's where everyone was doing the orgasm laughing. I just wasn't into it.
You just have to really act and perform in order to make like any money.
$20 for 10 minutes. I'm like, okay.
And I guess if he likes your orgasm laugh, he'll be like, oh, let's get more.
Actually, what's really sad is I was really observing, and these girls would be like doing the orgasm laugh, and then they'd be like, you can extend if you want. And they'd be like, no, I'm good. They would just jump up and leave. And I was like, damn.
These cheap guys. It's like you have the cheap guys being like, just $20.
That's why they're in that room and not in the privates. You want the privates.
Right, because then that guy will just like tip you and do whatever versus...
He booked the whole hour, so I'm like, at least I know I'm getting... Wait, 300 for an hour. How many 10 minutes is in an hour?
That's six. So...
You could make 120 in an hour.
Okay.
As long as you're back to back to back.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems
but
like...
I made like more than double that with that guy. So...
That seems to be the way to go if you're... I just never heard of this party. I've heard of foot fetishes.
There's
but
all sorts of weird parties in the city.
Like kink parties. I went to once a sex club. That was like my... like.
Which one was it?
Which one? You're like I'm on the list of
no, I only know the House of Yes.
I didn't know that House of Yes had a sex club. I thought they had like the, obviously like anything goes on the dance floor or whatever. I didn't know they had like a official.
I've definitely been there and people were fucking.
I just thought people should start fucking in House of Yes. Like I didn't think that was like a club.
It was a sex party. Like everyone had to sign a consent thing before we entered.
Before you're allowed in the doors.
And they had this vibrating, mechanical horse. Oh my God, it was amazing.
And then you could ride. It's like a mechanical bull, except it's like supposed to get you up.
Yeah, but it wasn't as violent. It was just gentle. I was like, oh my God, I need this.
You just need to ride this.
Yeah.
No, so I've been to House of Yes. I didn't go during the sex party, but this was when I went, I went to Cielo. So it was like this club. I came late with my friend. It was we get there, then there were these two like wasted German guys. They were like super drunk. We started like as soon as we walk in, they're like on us and they're just like talking to us and they're like trying to make out and I think like one of the German guys and I like went off and then there was my friend had another German guy, but we were all like kind of in a group. Then we entered the club at like 3 a.m. So it's like the club is about to shut down. It's like 4. And we still wanted to party. We were drunk. We just wanted to keep on going out. These guys are buying, and they're like, wherever you guys want to go. But we were like, take us anywhere, because we were like stupid and young and drunk. And we were just like, I was in the city to party. I didn't come to the city. I took a train to the city. I was like not trying.
You're like the first train back is at 5 a.m.
Yeah, no,
so
I
we
need
got
to be
time.
entertained. Exactly. I'm like, I need to be entertained until 5. And I'm just like, what do we do? And that was the, like when you live in the suburbs, when you're like Virgin Tunnel, as they call it, and you're coming into,
I know.
When you come into the city, like those are like the wildest people, because like you just want to do anything to keep the night going. Like all the fancy like Manhattan people, they're like, oh, we have our apartment, so we're gonna be like, we'll keep
I'm gonna go do freaky evil shit in my apartment all night.
Right, or like even like when they're on a date, they don't have to worry about train schedules, so they're like, okay, we're done with the date, we're done with drinks, like we're gonna like build anticipation. I'm not here to like take a beer tonight. I'm gonna go to my apartment, and that's like I think that's a smart thing to do. But when you come to the city to party, it's like anything goes. Just make sure that I'm on that 5 a.m. train and like keep me entertained till 5. So we were pretty much like, just wherever, and they were like, oh yeah, we know the spot. Like let's
I know a spot.
They're like, let's take you to an after party. And I was like, cool, that sounds cool. Like, I just wanted to go somewhere and keep, like, dancing and drinking. And so they acted like they knew the city. Like, we sort of trusted them because they seemed like, like legitimate. Later on, we found out that they asked the bouncer, like, where should we go? And the random bouncer at Cielo was like, hey guys, you should take these girls there. But like we thought like they knew the city. We thought they were like
they seem to be German tourists.
We were like, these German strangers seem to know New York City so well. So anyways, I was like, let's just follow these German tourists like in the city, like at 4 a.m. somewhere random. So they start leading us. We're in Meatpacking District. Start leading us to this abandoned warehouse. And I look at my friend. I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing? Are we sure we want to continue? And she's like, yeah, we have to wait till 5. It's all about the train. We're like, let's just go with it. I mean, we could have just said anything else at the time, but we were just so drunk. We could have been like, oh, let's get food. Let's do this. Anything but this.
You could have gone to that awful diner we went to.
Like we could have just had horrible food and got food poisoning. But we're like, no, let's just go to this abandoned warehouse that these 2 German guys are taking us to. So we get there, and then there's like 4 floors. And then like we go to the top floor. And then we get there, and it was a sex party, and we had no idea. Like, so, and the German guys, like, they found out that it was a party, so they were like, okay, we have to pretend like that we're couples and we're here to like swap and do like be part of the sex party, right?
Okay.
It's like me and my friend were with these 2 guys, so it was like we pretended we were like he was their boyfriend. They were like, just play along, like say that you're my boyfriend, I am your boyfriend, we're going to this party, just like, and we're like, okay, we'll pretend it. And so then we go there, and then, we go there, and it was just like very like, it was like very dim. There were all these like couches everywhere with us like mood lighting, like red lighting. Keep in mind, this is 4 a.m. We see like some couples are still there. Like they're definitely like making out like on the couch. They're naked. Then there was this one guy who was like talking to us in the hall, and he was like jerking off. He was like masturbating and talking to us with a cock ring. And I was trying to like keep a straight face, but he was like having a normal conversation. But he just had a cock ring.
The weather.
Yeah, no, he was just like, so where are you guys from? Well, he's like jerking off with his cock ring, and we're like,
okay.
Yeah, and it was just like very like.
Did he have a nice dick?
He was like this. He was just not an attractive person. Like he had like a gut, and he was like he didn't have like a really good dick, like a pretty dick. It was just like he just had a cock ring, so it was hard, but it wasn't anything like, to be like, wow, like thank you, like something you were just like God. Remember this dick. And the people that were at the party weren't even that hot too. They were just like older and like weird.
That's one thing I even noticed at the House of Yes. Although actually they were young, but they weren't that hot.
Yeah, they were like...
you know what? A lot of people's bodies, like if they're pale and stuff, doesn't turn me on.
I mean, it was just...
It might be me.
There weren't people...
I might be the one who's
I think like only sex parties and like movies and TV shows, like everyone's really hot, and these are the people that you're like, wow, I would, if we were fucking like all these like hot like models, like what a it's like aesthetically pleasing, but like in real life, people who go to sex parties are not hot. They're like,
They're not.
They're just like,
it's very upsetting.
Like they're just
that's
like,
why I was fucking with that mechanical bull so much. I was like,
that gives you more pleasure.
I was like, you're the only one who understands me.
I know. It's just like people aren't like people that you would hook up with at a club, and like I was just thinking like on the couches, like who's been there before, and then afterwards, like, it was shutting down, so they gave, like, they were like, oh, if you want to join the mailing list, join the mailing list, because we're going to
There's
do this
always
party.
a fucking newsletter.
No, there is. It was, and they had a magazine, and they were like, take this, they were like, if you want to read more about this lifestyle, this, like, open lifestyle, take a copy of this magazine, and I, like,
Bro,
took it.
I'm good. I'd rather just be a huge slut and sleep with
and
everyone in their apartment.
It was not like, it was, when you go to a sex party, it was not hot people, and they were just like, yeah, I think it's better to just like hook up with people randomly, like that are hot at clubs, and just do that. Because even when I see like orgies or even what like the nude beaches, people
nude beaches are the worst.
Like they go there, and you're thinking it's gonna be like, you know, like all these models, like with just like awesome bodies and like really like great boobs, or like, sorry, oh my gosh, that like, I don't know, like big dicks just walking around, and they're not. It's like old people, and just,
there's a reason we have sex in the dark.
I don't know, like I don't know if there's like a special party.
And there's a reason when we take those selfies and stuff, we get the right angle, we get the right lighting. It's like really hard to be hot
while you're having sex. Do you think about the way you look while you're having sex?
I do a lot. That's a huge reason I don't enjoy it a lot.
So do you, like, when you're having sex, are you imagining how you look, like what the scene looks like in your head while he's having sex?
And I hate taking my shirt off, but people always do because I have the Indian belly.
Oh no, I don't think people care when you have like big boobs, big ass, like big thighs.
But my belly's bigger because I'm South Asian.
But some people, I'm sure, like that too.
I don't give a fuck what they like. I don't like it.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's one of those things I think a lot of people think about how they look like while they're having sex. But even when you film making sex tapes or like porn, it's not like about the most pleasure. It's about like what looks good on camera. Because I'm sure some positions are horrible to like, if feel, it's not like good feeling, but it looks good on camera. So you're like acting.
Yeah, they do a lot of missionary in porn because it's like that point of view.
I like missionaries. You know, missionary feels good to me. Is that
it does? I think that they hit that G spot easily from the back.
Okay. A lot of the angles, I'm trying to think of some.
It's harder to get in.
Some angles just are probably better in porn, and some things are
when they do those standing positions where you're like doing a side split or something. I'm like, sis, I know you're not having fun.
I mean, okay, so I've done a position where a guy like lifts me up, and then I'm kind of like when I'm fucking him, when he's like holding me, and he's like lifting me up, but he was like strong. And that didn't feel bad.
That's what this older man keeps telling me he'll do to me. I hate him. I literally hate him right now.
Because he wants to have sex standing up. It's like
no,
you're, like,
that's
bouncing
not
on his
why.
Dick and he's like holding you. He has to be strong, though.
He was talking all this shit like that the other day, and I'm like, okay, where's my present? Like,
if you want to lift me up.
We're having phone sex now, but you don't buy me a present? Get the fuck out of here.
Where's my present?
Yeah. Like,
he said he was going to get you a present, right? Have you ever gotten a present after sex?
I don't think it was like for sex.
Right, but that's like prostitution, right? If you get a gift.
I don't know. When I was younger, I dated generous men. That's over.
Is he saying is that him right now?
No, I would have hit decline. I'm done with his cheap ass.
No present.
Broke bitch. I hate him.